Hey guys, you're back with Juzzy. Today we're looking at a tweaked Rebel video. So for all of you guys that have been hanging out for some motorbike content, here's another vid. So about a year ago, I purchased this bike and did a whole suite of mods on it, turned it into this. This is pretty much a KSPEED replica. All the parts are straight from their catalog pretty much. Little few differences here and there, but pretty much it is a rolling catalog for the KSPEED website at the KSPEED company. Interestingly, I've seen that since posting all of my videos, KSPEED has changed their branding, and rather than having what I think is a pretty cool Diablo label, they've gone now to something like Diabulous or something like that, which personally I feel is a step back. So I'm not quite sure if you can buy the branding, the Diablo branding parts anymore. A lot of people ask me questions as if I'm KSPEED in the comments, and if you have a look through all the comments from the videos of my bikes, sometimes I just sort of like them and don't respond because they're pretty, ridiculous. And a lot of people put thought into their questions. They read the comments in the description, etc., etc. But yeah, I'm not KSPEED. So if you have a query about your 1100 bike or, something that doesn't apply to this 500, then your guess is as good as mine. And please go and contact the manufacturer of these parts or the part that you're interested in. But I've been riding now this bike. I've owned it for a year. I really enjoyed it. It is sort of low mileage. I have been using it as a commuter to go to work, but I don't ride it when it's wet. Take the Evo instead. In this spot right here in the garage, my wife has a Mazda CX-3, which we are about to replace. We're just awaiting delivery of the new car that I've bought for her. And unfortunately, that car is every bit as quick as my Evo. So certainly I'll be driving it half the time because I don't want to miss out on that, and there'll be a whole bunch of content coming for that video. But in relation to the Rebel, today I wanted to have a look and talk about the handlebars. So if you're not up to speed on what I've done on this bike, I've got the standard forks, which have had the oil swapped out for 15 weight oil instead of the factory 10 weight oil. So the springs inside are actually stock, but by changing to the heavier weight oil, it really tightens up the front end and stops that real springiness feel that you get from factory. So basically, when I did that, I thought, great, I'm going to be really happy with the bike. And it certainly sorted out all of that sloppy feel that the front of the bike has. I put the drag bar on, and that was done before the shock oil change in the front. And of course, when you ride with a drag bar, as you can see, the drag bar is way low. And there's two reasons for that. Drag bars are pretty much a straight bar, and you can see here, you've got a slight angle in. The factory handlebars sort of comes like that, in that position. But the factory bars have obviously, if I turn these around, they've got this little riser here built into them. So what that means then is that in comparison to the stock bar, your riding position is obviously reaching forward more. Now that's good, it's plenty good, but when you're going to be riding for a long time, well, if you're riding on pretty bad streets, and let's face it, I'm probably sure all of you who are watching this video have got bad bumpy roads somewhere in your area, in your vicinity, then it might be more helpful then to either go back to the stock bars or look for a replacement. Now, in lots of my videos, I've talked about buying parts from WeBike Japan. So I bought these levers from WeBike, which are fantastic. And I've actually been having a look through their handlebars section for the Rebel 500. And I was thinking, okay, I might just have a look at some bars. And the two main bars I was looking at was, one of them was the Kojima bar, which there's a few videos for that handlebar by other owners online. But the thing I didn't like about it is that the angle was so much like this. And so it really does sort of put your wrist more like that. And I feel that over a period of time, that's going to cause some annoyingness to a rider. So I thought, okay, maybe I can look at just putting the stock bar on. And if I'm not happy with that, then I can look at getting the Hurricane bar. So there's a few different options. What really appeals to me, I've just noticed, I hadn't been riding for about 10 years. And as you know, I bought this bike and I've done it up. Looks great. Turns heads. People talk about it. People ask me questions all the time about it. Thumbs up. It's great. Love the bike. Great feeling. It's actually, when I ride it, I get a lot more compliments on this bike than I do in the Evo. And I just really, really enjoy it. I don't think I've once ever come across someone in person, only in some comments on videos, where people mouth off when they don't actually talk to you face to face. But I think most people can appreciate the mods that have been done and the effort I've done myself as a complete noob to modifying bikes. But I thought that if I went back to the stock bar, just to see what it looks like, remember what it feels like, because I don't have a lot of motorbike friends. I've only really got two that I ride with, and you'll see those bikes in my Instagram photos. We go out every, 2 to 4 weeks and cruise around in Brisbane. My friend who has a Rebel 2019, which you've seen in some of my videos, has the stock handlebars. And I thought I might just mix this up and just go to back to the standard bar, see how I like it with this 15 weight oil in the front, with the YSS suspension in the rear, and just see how I feel. Now, when I'm riding to work, I legally lane split. So we're allowed to lane split. You can do that up to 30 k's an hour. You can also ride on the freeway or the highway, on the shoulder, when traffic's under 30. And when I'm lane splitting, I do actually find sometimes that you sort of second guess, are you going to hit someone's side mirror on their car? And are you going to be okay? Now, I really liked the lane splitter mirrors, which is the ones that were here and they sort of were able to be folded in. I've never actually hit someone's mirror, but I've always just been cautious that if I did, I would stop and I would pull over and say, hey, really sorry. Have I done any damage? And if so, I'll pay for it. But probably what I would prefer to do is have the mirrors. What I've found over the last year of riding again is that the mirrors are actually better in the upright position. So yes, it looks damn cool when the mirrors are down, etc., etc. But I think after having a good year's worth of riding, my experience is that you see a lot better when it's up. And the only thing is that it just doesn't look as cool. So I guess it's that there's that sort of fine line between practicality, looking cool, and I guess width as well. So stock bars are apparently 72 centimeters wide, and the stock bars inside, they're solid on the end. So if you wanted to put a mirror, which is like a bar end mirror or weighted ends on the bar, then you have to drill it out. So that's why the stock bars don't have the hole there. And basically, as you know, the bike comes with mirrors pointing up from factory. Now this bar is significantly heavier than the drag bar. And what I've also come to find after reading a lot of descriptions on the WeBike site, some bars are weighted and some aren't. And this one from Diablo is not weighted. So it's completely hollow all the way through. And when the bar is actually hollow, as you can imagine, if you were to tap a bar or just tap it with something metal, the vibration and resonance through the bar then transfers to your hand. And since stiffening up the suspension via the shock oil on the front and riding it for a year, what I've noticed is that obviously that stiffening of the suspension has to result in resonating going somewhere. And of course, where does it go? Softest part is going to be where your glove is, where your hand is. So yeah, I'm looking forward to actually going back to the standard bar. Now, when you go and purchase the aftermarket light kit for the Diablo, which I've got a video on, in that video you would have seen that the clamps for the handlebar are actually aftermarket. So what happens is, from factory, the Rebel clamp comes with a bolt, a threaded bolt that you simply just feed through there. But these ones, which to be honest, I think they may even be like a scooter. I'm pretty sure the box when I got it from KSPEED indicated that they were a scooter clamp. They actually bolt from the bottom. So this clamp has no bolt with a thread in it at all. It's actually has a threaded inside. So this bolt goes up and into there. But the problem is that all of the risers that you see on eBay, AliExpress, or wherever, the risers that go here to sort of make the handlebars have a cup in this location, they don't fit this one, unfortunately, because the spacing here is closer. So on the Rebel and Orvi, cheapy sites, the spacing is just a little bit out like that. So I can't actually buy just a riser on the clamp, so a clamp riser. So that means if you have this setup, then the only thing you can do is go either back to the stock bar or buy an aftermarket bar. So from my research, it seems to suggest that the stock height of the bar is approximately 7.5 centimeters. And a lot of the aftermarket bars that you buy are around about 10 centimeters or so. So let's get the tape measure out here. Sorry for my hands on the video. Let's just have a look at that. So this brings it down. Can you see that for me? Probably about, it's down to the 2 centimeter mark. So yeah, that obviously shifts your weight to the front of the bike more, and it just changes your whole geometry. Everything's just a lot more forward. It looks damn cool when you ride. When you're coming down the street, it just sort of has a presence to it. I really like it. But practicality wise, and when you're riding for quite a while, it's not necessarily the way to go. So yeah, good news is that the bar from Diablo, of course, it's the same width because it's got to fit all of this stuff from factory. So it's 1 inch. So yeah, I'm actually going to see what it's like to have that bar from here. It should probably sit up around about this height. And I know that it used to clear here when it had the factory clamps on, but we're going to see how it goes. I can't see it being an issue. It may or may not just touch here. But yeah, I'm going to then ride it for a bit, and in my next video give you my thoughts on it. And the one thing I was mostly concerned about is that I've noticed that the WeBike site now stocks all the KSPEED stuff, but they don't actually have it on hand. They actually just act as a drop shipper. So you're better off just ordering any parts for that directly from them. So before I shot this video, I just undid this mirror. It's not normally like this, but I undid this and I started to see if I can get this grip off, and thankfully it's got a bit of movement. So it looks like I can pull that off, and then you don't have to undo any of that. You can just undo it here and slide the bar out, which should make for a pretty easy install. So if you're wondering how do you go about changing the bars, you'll see that in my history of videos, every single mod on this bike, there's a video showing how I installed stuff. The one thing I wish that I'd done, which I often get questions and DMs on Instagram, is that I'd wished I'd separated the video for the license plate install. If you're looking for what I've done with that, that's actually in the rear fender install video. Otherwise, everything else has its own video. So, yep, I'm going to start off now by inserting my Allen key into here. Now, what this is going to mean is that if I want to use a mirror using the stock handlebars, then I'm either going to have to drill out the end of the stock bar, or I'm going to have to go back to the factory mirrors. So it's going to look pretty Gumby for a while whilst I do that and I figure out what I want to do. But my primary concern is I just want to see what it feels like with the shock horn, because I never got a chance to ride it that way. Everything was sort of done the opposite way. I put the bar first, then I did the suspension. Yeah. All right, so let's get to that now. Now, oh yeah, one thing I was going to say. On the WeBike site, when you have a look at Kojima bars or Hurricane bars or the Daytona branded bars, they're all good names in the motorbike aftermarket industry. Those bars come with a 6mm thread on the end. So if you do want to buy a bar weight, so it's an end that simply just goes on here, it has no mirror attached, or if you want to put a mirror like this on, you can do it. It's just that you have to use a 6mm bolt. And this type of mirror actually, as you know, it's got the cylinder inside that you tighten and it expands inside the tube. So you can't install that unless you drill that whole end out, and that's not going to be for everyone. So if you're looking at mirrors, then you can go and have a look. I find that AliExpress has a great range of parts, and yeah, just see what you like. Do your research, look at 6mm mirrors, or what you can do is I've got a few different sets of mirrors with different arms, which I might try on here. But yeah, let's get everything off and let's take a look at what it's like. All right, so I've just undone the mirror from the end here, and I've found that the easiest way to try and get a grip off without having to cut it and sacrifice it is you can try heating it up. So mostly what people do is they spray hairspray either on the handlebar or inside the grip, and then it's easy to slide on whilst it's sort of viscous, and then it dries and you put it in the sun and it dries well, or you just put a hairdryer on it. But yeah, this is slowly coming off, and I found the best way to actually do it is not just to pull straight back, but to actually rotate as you are pulling and it's coming off. So I need two hands, but I'll show you what that looks like once it's removed. Okay, so here is the KSPEED grip. I really like this grip. The pattern's really good, the grip is great, and yeah, it's reasonably good wearing. So here's what it looks like when you actually remove it from there. As you can see, I've got part of the inner for the mirrors to join, but I'm just going to leave that there. I don't need to remove that at all. But yeah, you can get an idea of just how wide that is. Now, I forgot. Someone asked me recently, what's the thickness of the bar end mirrors that goes in there? Let me just get that for you. Okay, so as you can see, I've got the vernier gears around that inner ring there, and it's pretty much 17mm, so no more than 17mm. If you're using the KSPEED drag bar and you're just wanting to go another route rather than using the bar end mirrors, but I would highly recommend you get the ones from KSPEED, because then once you've got the inner part in the tube and you know it fits, you can always change around mirrors and change the mirror itself onto the bracket to your liking. All right, so here we are about 5 to 10 minutes later, and I've unbolted everything. And yeah, so basically now I've got it to the point where I can gently use a mallet and remove this bar. In fact, oh, it's actually come undone without even needing to use the mallet. So what I'm going to do is I just wanted to show you that you can actually leave this on here and pull the tube out so that you don't have to worry about having to do too much work on that side. So I'll take that out, swap the bar over, and let's take a look. Okay, so there is the Diablo drag bar, and as you can see, that is the difference. I'll try and line that up as good as I can. That is a difference in terms of the angle or the rake back when you're riding. So it is a little bit different. It's also going to be a bit taller. So in terms of height. I've just got them horizontally next to each other now. You can see it's just a little bit different. So if you go aftermarket, then yeah, it goes 3 centimeters more up again. Let's see what it's like. All right guys, so I finished putting the stock handlebars back on. All of the accessories, the grips, brakes, clutch, levers, everything, phone mount is all back on. And because I don't want to drill into the stock bars, I want to keep that in case I go to sell the bike. I wanted to just retain the KSPEED grips. Now, unfortunately, I've got the hole there, so that means I won't be putting side mount mirrors on. But as I was saying, I just want to really test riding this and see how I like it. Probably just give it a couple of weeks, see if I'm really happy with it. I've retained these KSPEED or Diablo mirrors, and I've just used some random mirror mounts that I'd bought over the time. They're nice and low profile. So here's what it looks like. Front quarter. I think the bike still looks pretty cool. It's obviously not as cool as having drag bars, but the compromise is that it is a much more comfortable riding position because the handlebars are a little bit higher. I'm really looking forward to just riding with the stock handlebars again because the bar is so much more heavier than the hollowed out drag bar from KSPEED. So basically, because I needed to use this mirror mount, I had to adjust these brake cables so that I could have some adjustability here because the pivot point doesn't have much give. There is a bracket to turn here, but I just like the look of it having it straight with the bars. Let me know what you think about this setup, guys. I actually think it looks like it's going to do the job. Probably what I'll end up doing from here, if I'm quite liking the comfortable aspect of the ride over the next couple of weeks, is that I will use this and just keep this in storage with the drag bar for whenever I want to change it out for a bit, just to mix things up. But I think what I'll probably do is buy another set of these grips, which I really like from KSPEED, and I will probably end up purchasing one of the bars that I see on WeBike Japan, which has a low profile like the stock bar, and potentially just has the screw holes in here so that I can consider changing it around. All right, cool. I'm really happy with this. It's turned out great. I guess another option I could do is that I've got a couple of blank throttle tubes when I didn't know what I was doing, and so I'll probably might then, I don't know, maybe I might like the stock bar and just not feel any need to change it. But certainly when you sit on the bike, the reach is just really easy. Can quite happily bend my arm around. As you can see, I like the mirror set up so that it's just on the outer part of where my shoulder is. So yeah, pretty happy with this. Let me know what you think about this in the comments down below. I don't know how many of you would have drag bars or have done the install after seeing my videos. And yeah, I always look forward to reading your comments, and I will post a video update in the next couple of weeks. Maybe you'll see me with a new bar, maybe you'll see me with just replacement grips here, and I'll just be happy with that. But I'll let you know anyway. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.